Hello friends, greetings. We're coming at you live in the Philippines. I'm sure we're going to have people joining us in the room, but it's been a while since we've did a live broadcast, although I've wanted to do some because we have a lot to talk about in terms of just certain things. Basically, there's been a lot going on in life, and some good, some not so good. Thank you guys for you guys joining us live, and if you're not joining us live, I guess that means you're watching this on the recording. It'd be fun to do more of these live streams. We try and run it like a radio talk show, but we've had a lot going on in life. Like I said, some good, some not so good, and definitely sometimes it's hard to do the same type of content or to do any content at all, but I'm trying to figure things out in terms of what direction I want to take this channel in. Lately I've been doing a lot of vlogs. However, the problem with the vlogs is, of course, they don't get as many views as a lot of my other types of videos. And they take a lot of work, take a lot of time, a lot of effort to do that. And they don't get a lot of views generally. So sometimes I have to ask myself, is it really worth it to keep doing that? Because the bottom line is, I'd rather focus time and energy on something that people are going to enjoy more. And as an artist, you got to please yourself. But if you're doing things that only really please you, or like other people don't really care that much for, you're kind of wasting your time. I mean, you're not wasting your time, but I think you got to really strive to please both yourself as well as pleasing the audience. So I gotta decide, do I want to keep the vlog series going or not? Because like I said, they really don't get a lot of views generally, and they just take so much dang work. Whereas sometimes if I just pick an interesting topic and I talk about that, like recently I had one that got a lot of views about that viral rape story. And that was actually for all the videos where I'm just sitting there kind of giving advice or teaching about something. I think that was one of my better ones. How do you feel about that one? A lot of people responded really well to it.
Well, I think when the subject is about rape and all these sensational stuff, people easily react, people easily click on it. So that's how it works. I mean, you love doing, creating content that are inspiring, entertaining, positive, but it's just really a common thing that people react easily to.
Yes.
Sensationalized
Just like Caitlyn Jenner. Just like Caitlyn Jenner.
Sensational
that guy
stories.
seems to be the top out of everything in the United States, and the United States has so much good things going on, so much bad stuff that needs to be worked and improved upon. But for whatever reason, what takes up all the media attention is Caitlyn Jenner. And the guy's out getting awards now for his courage, and that's another thing. That's the top story, and to me it's just kind of, there's a lot more things that we could focus on in society, but it's all part of the politically correct agenda that the United States has moved towards. And now it seems like it's not enough just to say, hey, you're okay with transgenders and you're okay with what Caitlyn Jenner is doing and that kind of stuff. But if you don't also say, oh, it's so courageous, if you don't take it to the extreme, then people hate on you and you're a bad guy. And I just heard about this story involving Snoop Dogg, the infamous rapper who's made a career out of glorifying crime, drugs, murder, degrading women. But now they're saying the guy's career could be over because he called Caitlyn Jenner a science project. And it's like, out of all the things that this guy's did and said in his life, this is the thing that's going to end Snoop Dogg's career, calling Caitlyn Jenner a science project because that's not politically correct. The guy's transphobic, so now his career should be ended. Never mind that he's been glorifying drugs and murder and degrading women for years. That's all fine and dandy. It just shows you how hypocritical America can be a lot of the times. But I want to talk tonight too because something that's been on my mind is online dating and guys coming to the Philippines for women. And let me say right away, I'm not against that stuff whatsoever. And definitely, as individuals, as men, we're all looking for different things in life. We have different goals in life. And in terms of finding women, we're all looking for different things. Different things turn us on as individual men.
Yes.
We're looking for different personality traits, different things in the look department, personality, different qualities that we're looking for in a partner. And I would never want to judge anyone for that because I understand we're all different. But it seems that for whatever reason, there's a common thread that I've noticed, especially lately, and there's some reasons why, and I don't think we're at liberty to talk about that right now. It involves something that you've been doing professionally, but I don't think we're at liberty to discuss that right now. And it seems a lot of these guys, and I understand most of these guys are older, and that alone is maybe going to make them see the world in a different way. I'll acknowledge that. And I know a lot of these guys have had bad experiences with women. A lot of these dudes they're divorced. Maybe they were married to a bad woman. Maybe a lot of them were probably married to someone that's a bitch. And now it seems like they want the complete opposite at the extreme end, where they want someone that they don't even care if she speaks English, half these guys, I think. And they just want someone that's going to cook for them, clean, give them some loving, and not talk back to them.
What?
Not talk back to him in terms of, giving him any lip, having a bitchy attitude. And that's all well and good, but I almost think some of these guys, it's almost like they want a maid. And my feelings is, if that's what you want, just get a maid. Yeah, you have to pay up front by it, but it's actually going to be cheaper if you end up getting a divorce. But I don't know what it is, and I also feel like I understand they want companionship, they want a warm body next to them at night, but I feel like you could just get a dog and do that, and it's actually, in the long run, I think it's going to be easier, and I understand a lot of these men are lonely, but here's my belief on it. As painful as it is to be feeling loneliness, I think that you're better off to be lonely than to end up married to someone or be with someone that you don't like. Someone that irritates you, someone that annoys you, someone that becomes a nag. And definitely I think there's so many women that, especially in America, a lot of these guys that are divorced, they'll tell you, when they started dating their wife or their ex-wife, she wasn't a bitch in the beginning, she wasn't a nag, but then eventually she changed. Maybe she got old, she got nasty. And maybe the guy changed too, who knows. But maybe they just want to blame the woman for all of it.
It takes two to tango,
Yeah, and not take any responsibility. So that's something that kind of perplexes me. But I would never get on someone. But it just seems like kind of a strange phenomena. Like I just think you could get a dog and you could get a maid. You'd have the warm body in your bed. And you'd have someone cooking and cleaning, and in the long run, you don't have to worry about things going bad, getting a divorce. But the bottom line is, as men, I think our biggest problem is we're ruled by testosterone, which is really a mind-altering drug. If there's anything they talk about mind-altering drugs like marijuana or mushrooms or LSD or whatever, I think the most mind-altering drug of all is testosterone, because that will make you do a lot of things that go against your better judgment. You'll stay out later than you should be staying out. You'll be spending money that you shouldn't be spending. But that's testosterone, man. We're ruled by that drive. And often it leads us to make decisions that aren't very good. But that's nature. That's how it's designed to work. Otherwise, our species wouldn't be surviving. It makes that kind of the strongest urge, other than eating, sleeping, and drinking, of course. But after those few very basic survival things, that drive is probably the most strong force in life. And women can definitely never understand that, because they have testosterone and they have that drive too, but not to the level that men have it. So let's get to the comments. Oh, someone has to go to bed already. I guess he's probably watching in the Philippines. Courtney Ann. Hi, Courtney Ann.
I saw something that was
Okay.
one of the
Nicolo.
people who joined us really early.
Okay.
Of course,
Get to it.
Jairo Aguilera, once again, hi to you. Jairo is part of our Patreon family. It's nice to see your name on the thread. And I saw something saying, say my name, say my name, say my name. That's Radjob Jogdin Mama. I hope I said it right. And while, hold your thoughts, let's say hi to Dale Tabios, to Leonidas, hi to, is it Jonel? Dionel?
Dino.
Dionel?
He's loving the daily vlogs, so thank you very
Yes.
much for the support.
Hi to you, Courtney Ann, and then we have Orgasmified, Mohit Grover, Nicolo Mang Mang, and who else?
1, 2, 3,
1,
4,
2, 3,
5,
4,
6, 5,
5,
Jay.
6.
He comments a lot,
Jay.
he watches a lot.
Much love to you as well. Thank you.
So, about the internet dating, do you guys internet date? Do you love it? Do you have problems? Do you guys use dating websites, specifically dating websites where you have to pay to be a member?
Something
Or
goes
are you
nice.
using free things like Tinder or Craigslist or... I have mixed feelings on a lot of those things. I quit internet dating many years ago. I just found it easier for me personally, to meet women in real life and not go through all the typing back and forth and all that stuff. But I know a lot of people really get a thrill in that. But to me, I got other kinds of thrills. Like, it's more, to me, I just like going up to people, not dealing with all the endless emails and all that kind of stuff. But it's something too that's highly personal preference, because it depends on the person's personality, and a lot of people, they don't like to put themselves out there because it's a big risk. And I think in Filipino culture, it's very different, the philosophy on that, because here, if they get rejected, especially asking someone for a date, I think Filipinos, they don't see it as like a big blow to their ego, and they don't get depressed about it. To them, it's just like, oh well, and they just move on to the next girl. But in America, if you ask you get up the nerve and you ask a girl out on a date or something, and then she says no, it destroys your ego and your confidence for the whole rest of your life.
Oh, wow.
I think that's how people take it more in America. There could be grave consequences if you get rejected, because it's going to mess up your whole confidence pot for years to come, if not the rest of your life, because one girl rejected you.
Oh, wow.
So,
Well, you know what? Are you going to ask me what I think about...
jump right in. I was reading the comments.
Yeah. You know what, guys? We really would love to read all your comments.
I'm reading them now.
Yes.
Go ahead, and then I'll get
And
to them.
when it comes to online dating, I already said this in one of the previous vlogs in the past, and I have nothing against online dating. In fact, I think many years ago, I can't remember the exact date, I remember my friend telling me about online dating. I also got to talk to friends. I met new friends on the internet, chatted with them. And one thing about chatting, I just enjoy chatting with them, especially as Filipino. I love chatting, writing, and speaking English because I think it helps me improve my communication skills, aside from just improving my social skills. But whenever someone tells me or asks me if I met my one and only beloved, all love, just like my shirt saying love, if you see it, I say that, I immediately answer that I didn't meet him online, and just not meeting him online makes my story special. I'm not saying that stories of couples who meet online are not special, but it's just a personal feeling that I think it makes it very special to me, right? And when it comes to online dating, you really have to be extra careful, because there can be people who could scam you they would say, I love you, and you'd hear sweet nothings and all that. You look so great, you're so hot, you're so good and all that. And then you fall in love with the person. Eventually you'll realize, you'll discover that the person wasn't really sincere and wasn't genuine. So gotta be extra careful.
You gotta be extra careful, but not too careful. Sometimes you gotta say, what the heck? Or as Tom Cruise said in that movie, you gotta say, what the F? That's a famous old movie. And now his son, I noticed, is controversial because he made a minor joke about Caitlyn Jenner. Part of that politically correct culture that we live in, man. And I'll tell you, like, the United States is overtaken by that. And it's coming, I see it coming in hardcore in the Philippines. The Philippines is quickly becoming almost as bad as the United States in terms of politically correct culture taking over. And recently I saw a video of Jay Leno, and he went somewhere to do some show, and they said, Mr. Leno, where would you like to eat? Would you like some Mexican food? And he said, no thanks, I don't like Mexican food. They're like, don't like Mexican food? What are you, a racist? Leno's a racist? And they started calling him a racist just because he said he doesn't like Mexican food. And I tell you, I think I get called a racist every day by some Filipinos, but really black people have been getting hardcore on me about really only one of my videos. And it's just people that don't understand, people that they completely don't understand. But the other day I had a Filipino girl, she left a comment. It was on a different video. She said, I don't even remember what video, but she said, this video offenses me. This video
offenses?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
That was her comment.
Okay.
This video offenses me. And it's like, well, I understand what she meant. She meant offended, but she doesn't speak English good enough. But my response is, and this is not to be negative, so I don't know if I really want to say this publicly, because anytime you say something, people are like, oh, now he's being negative. But the thought that came into my head when I saw that comment, this video offenses me, and I didn't type this back as a reply or something, because I'm not going to get into it like that. But I was thinking, well, of course this video offends you. Dumb people are often offended by things that they don't understand. I'm sure if someone tried to explain, if you took like an evolutionary scientist and he tried to explain evolutionary theory to her, she would also say, this offends me, because she's too dumb to understand it. But, that's such an ignorant comment. Like, anytime someone says, oh, I'm offended by something, it's like, stop whining. That's all that is. It's a complaint. It's whining. And that really they're people that are complaining. They're complaining about someone putting something into the world, and all those people want to do is take things out of the world that they don't personally like. And as an artist and a creator, and look, man, as human beings, we all have thoughts, which a thought is the beginning of creation. Maybe it's a creation in itself, just having a thought. Really, there's no reason we can't all be considered creators, but some people, they just have that attitude and they have that perspective, and I definitely understand that a lot of people can't understand my perspective on the other side of the screen as a creator. They can only see their perspective, and a lot of times it's very ignorant. But I understand that's all par for the course, and you're not going to please everyone in life.
That's for sure.
And you shouldn't even try and please everyone in life.
Yep.
Especially if you're a creator. Anytime someone tries to do an artistic creation that aims to please everyone, it's some really bland, boring stuff.
The thing is, you'd see negative comments that are so mean, but I guess since you're the one who have a broad mind, I guess you just have to understand and not just stoop down to that level.
Yeah, you got to take the higher road a lot of the times, even though that can be difficult. That can be easier said than done.
Yeah.
Even last night, we had an experience where a professional, this isn't about YouTube, but a professional sent you kind of a nasty, disrespectful letter, an American guy.
He's a white guy. He's not American, I think.
Oh, he's not an American. Canadian guy. Sorry, Canada. He sent you kind of a letter. This is about a professional thing that you're doing. and he talked to you almost like he's talking to an animal or a dog. It was so disrespectful. And even me, that kind of angered me at first. But you got to use some discipline and take a deep breath and just understand, that's the way it is. And I know sometimes when someone does something to you, you want to give them a piece of your mind.
Yeah.
But you gotta resist that very basic primitive urge and take the higher road. And that's how things will work out for the better. And I'm not saying just let people walk over you and let people abuse you. I believe that you should assert yourself. However, there's a right way and a wrong way to assert yourself.
Since you mentioned that experience, as soon as I got it, honestly, I really felt bad. Like, I was like, what? I was so tired already, like working the whole day, like for how many hours. And I would get that, but I just said, I didn't even tell Travis right away. So I took a deep breath, and then I said, Lord, because I'm the kind of person who would really just talk to God like he's my friend or he's my father. Like, Lord, that really hurt me. But if I'm going to reply to that right away, I might say the wrong things, the mean things as well, and that it might not be a good thing to do. So I tried to let it go, to think about it, and just do what I had to do, and then compose something really positive in response to it. And then after that, it was all good. So, it's also biblical. Like, our tongue has the power of life and death. So really have to be cautious with what comes out of our mouth. It's not easy to do that, especially when you're angered by bad things, negative words that you could hear thrown at you. But thank God, His grace just makes it possible to react in a cool way. Well,
I'll tell a story. I believe you should assert yourself, even if it's a boss, someone that has some form of power and control and can kind of mess up your life to some extent, like, for example, a boss. But we had an incident where I was doing a TV show, acting on a TV show, like maybe a month or so ago, and I'm not part of the regular cast, but there's a girl that is, and here's the thing, they have some Filipino actors that are kind of, they're big and they're the stars of the show. Then they have another one who's an older actress, but still pretty well known. And then they have this other girl that she's a regular cast member, but she's much lower down. Yeah, she's young. She's lower down on the totem pole. She doesn't have the fame and experience. And we had a dressing room that we were supposed to share with one other actor, the kid that was supposed to play my son that they later changed to my nephew. And then, so we're sharing a dressing room with him. And this other girl, who's probably, early 20s, mid-20s?
Yes.
Something like that. She was supposed to share with the old actress who's, probably over 70 years old. And she's done a lot of stuff acting in the Philippines. She's known. And she shot a scene, and then she went back to the dressing room to go into the dressing room. But her bag, her stuff that she brought, it was placed outside her dressing room. So that means the old lady and her posse, they saw her stuff in there, and very rudely, they just put it outside and closed the door as a sign, hey, you're not sharing this dressing room with her, even though she was assigned to share that dressing room with her. And what she did is she came into our dressing room and she said, hey guys, can I share a dressing room with you? And she told us the story. And, you guys were nice and said, yeah. And then she put her stuff out and she walked out. And my suggestion was, let's grab her bag and put it outside our dressing room now just to mess with her. I thought that would have been a funny joke.
No.
But, I think that she should have asserted herself, even though that lady, she's much more important to the show because she's more famous and more experienced and she's lower on the totem pole, as I said. But, I think it would have been great if she would have, kicked, opened the door, ran in and yelled at the old lady, who the F moved my effing bag? You touch it again, I'll break your effing head. Can you imagine? I'm sure that old lady would have crapped her pants.
You know what? It's not really possible because in Filipino culture, we really are expected to respect the elders,
and that's a bad thing. That's why elders get abusive here, and they act like jerks.
You know what? I understand how she responded to that cruelty. Really.
Well, I do too, because she's worried about getting fired. You know, because that person would probably go to the producer and director. You fire that little B word.
I'm sure it wasn't that easy for her, because as an actress, she was also preparing for her, acting job. She was, just to prepare for, she was there to act. And if she would let that incident affect her, maybe what's more important, that is acting excellently, might be messed up. So, I think that was a better choice that she made.
Yeah, definitely, it's understandable. It'd be like me going on, and then like if Christopher Walken, that's just what comes to mind. I don't know if he's a good guy or bad guy. We just watched one of his movies the other night, but it'd be like if I was working on a project with Christopher Walken, who's much more my senior and much more famous and experienced than me, and then he moves my thing. If I start yelling at him, "Hey, you don't touch my effing bag," it'd probably be easy for them to go and say, "Hey, get rid of this person." So there's that risk. But I think it would have been worth it. If I were her, I would have handed a camera to the friend and say, "Record this, we're putting this on the internet," and rebrand yourself as a tough girl. But something else about that, in American culture, you don't put your hands on someone else's stuff. Even if I'm at the gym and someone puts a towel on a bench and they walk off, and maybe they just forgot it, I'm very careful even about moving like a sweaty towel. I can't imagine taking someone's bag and putting it outside the dressing room and closing the door. To me, that takes a lot of nerve. And you got to be a real creepy person to do that, but we're not naming names as to who it is. Maybe some people will figure it out, but I'm just relaying the story that was told to us, and I'm sure it's true, because why would that girl make it up? She'd have no reason to make that up. But I think it would have been hilarious. You guys didn't want to do it. I'm like, let's put her bag, after she walked out, hey, let's move her bag outside now, just to see what she does. Then she'd have no dressing room.
But you know what? I would commend what she did and how she handled it, because she could have cried. She could have got so angry.
She was a trooper.
Yeah, and then when she went to the dressing room and we were staying, it wasn't like something. I didn't see in her face how that she was, she got so sad or she got so pissed. She was just cool. So I think that's also something to commend her for. But before anything else, I think I had this thought I was trying to hold while Travis was talking. I saw someone say it's about compatibility. I think that was referring to when we were talking about online dating and maybe finding your partner. Of course, yes, it's important. If you're not compatible, then that might not work. That wouldn't work. But to me, what I've learned through these years, compatibility is not about, you don't have to share the same exact interests. You gotta complement each other. And what were you pointing to?
Well, we missed a lot of comments here. Sorry about ignoring that, guys. We're reading them.
I know.
But we're trying to talk at the same time and keep it moving so there's not dead air.
Just one more thing before I forget this. I saw someone posted a comment. It was so fast. It runs so fast. Christian Hansen from Sweden, thank you for joining us. Are you back in Sweden? And personally, I'm so glad that things work well for you and your wife.
Well, something I want to talk about, now we can talk about it since there's people. Or maybe we could get some thoughts on this, because I find it interesting as a YouTuber and a content creator. A couple vlogs ago, I mentioned about how there was this couple that had a popular YouTube channel in the Philippines, but it's no more. And I didn't want to say the reason it's no more, because then people would figure it out. But now I'm going to tell you who I was talking about, because I think it's a very interesting news story. And I'm not doing this, I'm not trying to sling their name through the mud, but I think it's a very interesting, from a legal standpoint, the Jamish channel. Huge YouTube channel in the Philippines about a supposed real-life romance. But what's interesting about this is one of them died, And this is a huge, huge channel. They have something like 120, 130 million views. And supposedly they have money coming in from it. By the way, like I referenced in another video like a few months ago, there was a rock star that, and he like questioned me, said like, oh, he thought I was going to exploit him because he thought he's going to be in my video and he's going to get all the, I'm going to get so many views from his cool popularity of Mr. Rockstar. Well, even though that video became one of my least viewed videos ever, but he thinks I'm exploiting him. It's just a video for fun. I really didn't even want to do a video with him that bad. You wanted it more than me. But he's like, you make, before we did the interview, he's like, you make money doing this? And I said, yeah, but I mean, really not much. I mean, it's only, I mean, you have to get a lot of views if you, because he's talking about the little ads and stuff. You have to get to really make a significant amount of money. You need hundreds of thousands, really like millions of views. And really those views need to come from the United States. If they come from the Philippines, they're going to be worth a fraction of what one would be worth from the United States. But I said, yeah, not really, you know, a very little bit. I'm like, this is just for fun. Because like I think he wants me to pay him or something just to be in the YouTube video. And really it's to help promote him too, not that he needs it, but you already got the guy a job. So he was already making money off of us. But he goes, well, you know what? I'm friends with Jamish and they make a lot of money. And he's thinking I make what they make, when honestly, I don't know what they make. He doesn't even really know what they make, I'm sure. And maybe they lied and said they make a lot of money, even though they have so many views. I'm sure those views all come from the Philippines, which aren't worth that much compared to the U.S. So who knows what they make? But anyway, supposedly they have some money coming in. One of them died, and now there's like a battle between the mom of the guy that died and the girl, the other half of the partner. And there was some other stuff that came out about her, like, you know, where it seems that she doesn't really care about the guy that died, her supposed love of her life, and there's some videos that made her look kind of insensitive that surfaced, and then people are like, oh, it was all fake. Well, I never really watched their channel because it's not my cup of tea, but I saw about 20 seconds of one time, and I would have just assumed it was fake from that. But people are very disappointed. Oh, it was fake. Well, maybe you should have just taken it for what it is and not assume that in reality they're this perfect couple and stuff. But it's interesting because now there's this legal battle. The mom wants money from it. The girl, Jamish, I think it sounds like she wants to keep everything to herself. And it's going to be, they both need to get lawyers and divide it up. Who knows how much money it is? Maybe even though they have so many views, maybe it's not that much. But it's been all over the media. It seems to have died down, though, that story. But I find it fascinating that like someone that has this popular YouTube channel died. And here's the thing, she wasn't his wife. They were engaged to be married, but she doesn't really deserve all of it, obviously. Some should go to the mom. Now, how much? They probably have to get lawyers and figure that out. And I don't think YouTube's going to intervene, but in the meantime, Mitch is the other girl's name. She seems to be getting, I'm sure she's getting all of it now. Whatever that is. Who knows if it's even that much. Mr. Rockstar told me it was so much. I don't think it could have been that much, though, because I know when he had his cancer treatments, they were taking donations to help pay for the bills. So it's not like they're rich people, obviously. I don't even know if they made enough to live off of it full time. Who knows? But, and really when he said they make a lot of money, I want to say define a lot. Is that, you know, 1,000, is that like, you know, 50,000 pesos per month? Is it 5,000, 10,000 pesos per month? Define what a lot is. I don't even think he knew. He was just throwing that out there. And I kind of wanted to call it off because he's giving me this vibe that you're just going to exploit my fame and popularity, and this video is going to get so many views because I'm in it and people love me so much. And dude, it was like my least viewed video. So I'm not trying to badmouth that guy either, but the other guys in the band were really cool. They were super cool. I love those guys, but it rubbed me the wrong way when he gave me that attitude. And he's like, well, I'm friends with Jamish, and they make a lot of money. It's like, dude, do you know how many more views Jamish has than me anyways? And, you know, who knows what they make? And, you know, it's just all for fun. I didn't really even want to do it. You wanted me to do it. But the other guys in the band were all cool. And are you finding any interesting comments, questions?
Yeah, hello from Mr. and Mrs. Hess. Oh, hi, and that's from Mara Rakaza. Mr. and Mrs. Hess, hello to you both. And let me see. You know, everyone in the room is sharing what they're using to do online dating. Some of them said they gave up on online dating, too much effort. Someone said...
It is a lot of effort.
Yeah, someone said there are like many online dating relationships that ended up in happy marriages, but there are also a lot of people who got scammed in online dating.
Well... Look, I never did online dating. When I did do online dating, I never did online dating in this country. And I'm not the type to send out money to people or anything like that. I only did it in the United States and mostly in college. I did a little bit, I think, when I moved to California, but I quit shortly after moving to California. And I never tried it dating anyone in the Philippines through meeting them online. So... I mean, this is another thing in America too. You don't have to deal with scammers or whatever you want to call them, or people doing dubious things. Here's the thing: in the United States, and this is very common with young people these days, you have what's hookup culture, where you'll go out to a bar or you just meet someone, and then they have like a one-night stand or whatever. Someone sleeps over at the other person's. They go over the hookup. I'm trying not to be too graphic, but you guys know what I'm talking about. And here's the thing. You never have to, unlike here, you never have to worry about bringing a girl home, having her stay over, and when you wake up in the morning, your laptop is gone, your iPhone is gone. And what does that say about America? Is it bad because we're sluts that go out and hook up? Does that make us bad? Or does it make Americans such good people that they can trust taking strangers into their home to hook up with and not getting robbed over the whole thing? There's so much trust in America with that. But here, it's like I always tell guys, man, hey, if you're new to the country, especially depending where you go, even if a girl seems nice, if you just met her, don't let her sleep over at your place because you don't know what's going to happen. She might end up robbing you, or she might later try and extort money out of you by telling people you raped her. You got to be so careful with that stuff, unfortunately, here. But I feel like it makes Americans look good. Some people would say that, well, Americans are a bunch of sluts here. Hey, man, they hook up in the Philippines just as much, if not more, in the Philippines. But it seems like then you have to be worried that they're going to rob you. In the U.S., maybe they're worried about getting an STD, but not getting robbed afterwards. So it's kind of a weird dynamic.
Well, hold on. I was trying to read something from Super Love Bar. Hi guys, I'm a big fan of you. I'm thinking to go to Philippines to be with my girlfriend there. I'm thinking to open a restaurant there. I lost it. It's so...
No, I saw that. He's thinking about opening a restaurant in the Philippines, and he's interested in opening even a franchise. What do we think about it? It's not that I want to tackle business questions right now, but it's kind of hard to answer because I would say, first of all, how well do you know the Philippines? How many times have you been here? What do you know about opening and running a restaurant? I don't know if you have experience in that or you don't have experience in it, but that would definitely be something that would have to be determined. And in terms of opening a franchise, I don't know if you mean opening up a McDonald's or a KFC or whatever, but you have to understand franchises for those restaurants work differently in the Philippines. If you own a McDonald's, for example, it means you own every McDonald's in the country. If you own a KFC, that guy owns every KFC in the country, which is very different than the United States. You can own just one McDonald's. You can own one KFC as long as you're willing to pay the franchise fees and keep it up to whatever their standards are and that kind of stuff, as long as you're willing to do things I mean, it's very expensive to open up a McDonald's or KFC or whatever, the franchising fees. Subway, it's not that expensive. That's why you see Subways everywhere. They're fairly cheap to open, and you don't need all the cooking stuff. You don't need to spend like a lot of those other restaurants. But I would say that. Keep in mind, most of those franchises typically, at least if you're talking about like McDonald's or KFC, those fast food chains, those are, if you own one, it means that you have rights and own everyone in the country. And no, I don't think anyone else can open a McDonald's or something like that. But in terms of that, man, I don't know what your experience is in the Philippines, and I don't know what your experience with a restaurant is, but, you know, I think it's risky. But it depends on what you know, too. There's a guy that I was talking about the other night, David Salon. There's a white guy here, and he owns a chain of hair salons, and he's a white guy. As far as I know, foreigners aren't allowed to own a business at all in this country, so I don't know how he does it exactly, but he seems to be very successful. He has a huge chain of them, and they're everywhere. But that's a guy, too, that I think he knows some things that most people don't know in terms of running a business and getting it done. That's a guy that has knowledge, and I'm sure he put up a lot of money, too, to start those things. It took a lot of capital that he had to invest up front to do that. So definitely, and maybe someday I'll even do a video about him, because I do get a lot of business questions about the Philippines. I think that guy would be the one, because that guy probably has some special knowledge about doing a business as a foreigner and doing it very well at a very high level. So that's my answer to that. It could be opening a restaurant in the Philippines. It's probably very risky. For one thing, there's no shortage of restaurants in this country. You got to really fill a need that people want. So,
in addition to that, if you will have partners same race as yours or Filipinos, just make sure they can really be trustworthy.
You'd have to put it in your girlfriend or your wife's name. And, you know, what happens if you guys split up? She owns the whole thing. It's in her name, and she can do what she wants with it. Yeah, I don't think you're going to have any rights of it. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I think that's what's going to happen.
I think you can have some kind of agreement,
that's legally held up.
Yeah, it's possible. Legally binding. So
these are things you'd really have to talk to a Filipino lawyer about all before.
If you'd only think about, you guys might split up and stuff. When you get into something just like marriage or in a business, you gotta be optimistic. You gotta have, you agree with me on this. You gotta set really high goals and a very huge vision, and you work on that. Because if you already think of expect that it's gonna be
but also look, it's like insurance. You don't plan on getting in an accident, but you still probably have insurance for your car, at least on some level. So you got to protect yourself legally. You got to really be cautious. Even if it's your girlfriend or your wife, understand that she might have, and you'd have to talk to a lawyer. So you can't quote me on this as the definitive legal answer on this, but definitely talk to a lawyer before that. And I think that if you don't really know about restaurant stuff, could be very, very difficult if you don't have experience in that area, or your partner doesn't have experience in that area, and you're just doing it all from scratch. Personally, I don't think it's a good idea. I think for these type of things, you got to be knowledgeable. Knowledge is power.
Well,
go ahead.
Yeah, you got to research. You got to plan very well, and whatever you will end up doing, we wish the best for you. And before I forget this, I just want to say thank you guys for all of you who already subscribed to my YouTube channel, who already watched my videos on my channel. It's called Ima Speaks. And if you haven't subscribed yet, it's okay. You still have time to subscribe. And that reminds me that I have to upload new videos very soon, because I have been busy and I wasn't able to upload new videos yet. And if you can move on to another thing to talk about. Maybe we can say thank you to our Patreon family.
Yes, I want to bring up, we've been going on for a while now, but I want to bring up Patreon. I'm going to be restructuring the whole thing, and I'm going to be putting out a lot of new, really focusing on our supporters on Patreon, because it really helps out a lot. And we have 32 patrons supporting us on Patreon, so thank you so much for that and helping make these videos possible. And I'm going to be doing a lot new bonus and exclusive content. I've already shot a lot of videos, and then sometimes I shoot them, but I don't know if they're right to go on my channel. But I understand the people that support me on Patreon, they're a little bit more understanding and things that would help them. And I'm kind of trying to decide what direction, in a way, to take this channel in. Should I do more of the vlogs? Like I said, unfortunately, it takes so much time to do those, but generally they don't get that many views, even though they're like mini documentaries. And I do put in a lot of creativity and artistry in them. But the videos that get the most views a lot of times are just when I pick a good topic, talk about it. However, that doesn't fulfill me artistically either. That's information and providing a good service for people, but doesn't satisfy me as an artist, I guess. Or should I just do something else completely? Should I not do my YouTube channel, or not focus on it so much, do less frequent? I don't really want to do that, at least not right now, maybe someday. But like I said, I am going to focus more on Patreon, getting out exclusive and bonus content. So if you don't want to lose out on that, and you want to help support us and that kind of thing, just the link is in the description. So thank you guys for that. And like I said, 32 now. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and for you guys who are not familiar with the Patreon yet, our Patreon family, and you can be part of our Patreon family, of course. Both of us, especially Travis, the channel, and everything that he does, he creates for you, and we help each other to do that. We enjoy entertaining you, informing you, inspiring you in ways we can. And the feedback that we get from you guys, people who ask questions or tips and say, tell us how entertained they are, how inspired they are, and how thankful they are for the information they get from the channel. They are really so heartwarming, and they make us, they inspire us more to do more. And the Patreon family, they are very special to us, because they help us keep making videos for you guys. And being part of the Patreon family, like what Travis just mentioned, hopefully in the near future we'll be able to give more bonuses to them. And in addition to what he already mentioned, what I've been thinking about that I suggested to him already is, say for example, as a patron, if you have plans to come to the Philippines and you need some advice on where to stay, where to go, what to do, we could help you, research on it, little details.
And she takes care of a lot of that stuff.
Yes, details that you might have to know. Because there are things, you could research things on the internet, but they're just information that you couldn't get from the internet. You gotta talk to people, credible sources, people who have experience in that specific field, on that industry, and that whatever aspect you are concerned about. So that can be one of our bonuses for our Patreon family. And at this point, I guess we can already say thanks to our patrons. Is that okay? I'm just going to mention their names one by one really fast. Okay,
I'll be reading the comments. I want to get to Angel's comment here real quick.
To our dear Patreon family, our family, they are these people. Thank you so much, and we love you so much. Chris Vinci, by the way, congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Chris Vinci, Chris and Ina Vinci. Congratulations to you. Also, best wishes, congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Brian Mitchell Luke.
Just got married the other day.
Yes, Brian and Chris.
I'll have a video coming out with him where I talk to him.
Yes.
He's a Canadian.
Right. So. And then thank you also to another patron. We have Corey Rasu, Brian Mitchell, I just mentioned his name. Scott Dallin, Jim Malloy, Judo Lloyd, David Hawley, Wade Kuroiwa, right? Is that how you pronounce it? Thank you so much to you, Video Lux. You can also check him out on YouTube. Eric Vela, Joey Galon, thank you so much. Also to G-Man, B.W. Barnes, Terrence Brown, thank you. Steve Dornbos. Did I say it right? Dornbos. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Steve Dornbos.
Thank you.
Dornbos.
Thank you also to Sean P. McGigan. Sean, how are you? And
Sean.
Sean.
What did you say?
Sean. Okay. Sean P.
My dad would say Sean now.
Sean.
Because it's
Sean
S-E-A-N.
Connery.
My dad, he says Sean Connery.
Yeah.
That's
Hi to you.
my dad would say most people will tell you Sean Connery's the best Bond, but to me it's Roger Moore. That's what my dad says.
Of course, to Sean, who has a lovely Filipino wife as well. Hi to both of you. Hi to you, and thank you to Blake Gardner, Raymond D'Alessandro. Thank you to Kyle Banshee, whose lovely wife is also in the Philippines. To Josh Hayes, they're still our patrons. Ed Navarro, Chad Sims, Jeffrey Pasco, Joe Cuss. Hi, Aguilera. We said hi to you earlier. You were in the room. To you, Edward Latz, Frank Williams, Cynthia Zerga. Thank you so much to your lovely, super loved Patreon family. If I missed one name or two, I'm sorry. We'll make it out to you later.
I want to get to this comment that Angel made, and I don't know if you're a man or female. Probably a man. That's kind of a weird name for a man, isn't it, Angel?
Angel can be for both.
It's more like a Mexican guy would be named
But
Angel.
like,
an American woman would
it can be
named that.
It can be in Filipino Angela or Angela or Angelo or Angelo.
Anyways, he made a comment, and I don't think he means this in a serious or hateful way, but it inspired me to talk. And they said the boxer from your country lost to Floyd Mayweather. And yes, he did. Manny Pacquiao lost, but he's still a winner in life, so it's okay. I've lost wrestling matches. I've lost out on professional gigs. I've lost in my professional and my personal life, and I keep losing. It's part of life, but you got to overcome those boundaries. Even though it is easier said than done, you got to overcome those challenges. So we all lose. I've been doing some losing lately in life, unfortunately, but still trooping on, and it's just part of life, man. And I always say, hey man, when you step up to the plate and you try and hit that home run, sometimes you're going to strike out. You're going to swing and you miss. That's part of life. That's part of the journey that we're on here. Sometimes we have really good times, sometimes we have bad times. It's all just the way it goes here in this life.
Yep, and it is actually through the bad times that we learn and we grow and we become better people.
Let's talk about something happier now. Let's talk about Travis. And I was saying how earlier today I was telling her that when I was a kid, I didn't like the name Travis. I wanted my name to be Mike. That's what I wanted when I was like 5, 6. That was the name of the cool guy that lived up the street. And
How old was that cool guy then?
He was around my brother's age, so he was a bit older. He went to space camp even. He's like the first kid from North Dakota to go to space camp. But he was the cool kid. I want my name to be Mike too. But now I love the name Travis, and it seems like anytime you see a character named Travis in a movie or a TV show, he's always the cool guy, the hip guy. So I guess I like that. Your thoughts on that subject matter? Boy, that guy's loud out there.
If you hear that noise, that's the loud noise from the motorcycle, the tricycle that's passing by somewhere there. That's how it is in the Philippines. Noisy.
Too dang loud here.
Yeah. Well, my thought on that, I love the name Travis. The first time I heard that name is the first time we met. Travis. Yeah. And Travis Kraft is just a very cool name, I would say. And
I think so too. I'm happy with my name. I'm happy with who I am. Some people, they leave comments sometimes, oh, he wants to be Filipino or something. Man, I don't want to be anything other than what I am. I'm happy. I think I'm very blessed, even though, like anyone else, I have problems. I lose at times. Sometimes, you win some, you lose some. But I think I'm very blessed to be who I am for the most part. But thank you guys. We can do another one of these soon.
And hope all of you enjoyed. I saw people interacting with each other on the thread, and that
good.
makes me happy because you guys are having fun. And thank you for joining us. Have a great week. Be blessed.
We will talk soon. We'll be back. We'll do it again soon, and I'll have some upcoming stuff, good stuff. So thank you guys.